Some poisoning. I really like how it alternates between flashbacks of this party and the reality and the of the present of this conversation. It's a great way to like introduce a lot of different characters in this seamless way while like also keeping the focus firmly on this couple who's experiencing the same, event, reunion completely differently. It really creates this opportunity for her to be introspective about the relationship and for us to kind of see her point of view and see how things look from his point of view. Um, and the dialogue was really great in this. It, was really poignant and heavy to really express what's going on in this relationship and this whole idea about stagnancy and feeling like, maybe I've held you back from different things. I thought it was really well done.
Sun poisoning. I really enjoyed this. I think that, especially for people that, I mean, I was gonna say that grew up in a small town, but that's not even necessarily true because if you it's like even if you grew up in a larger city but you went to the same school for years and years and years, you probably had the same friends for a really long time, whether it was a small town or not. But if you have those kinds of relationships, especially as you're transitioning from kind of that high school ish age into young adulthood and early adulthood, I think that this is something that a lot of that kind of age range, that kind of young early adult goes through, and not just with their friends but with their relationships, with everything. Of you kind of reach this point as you're learning more about who you are, you've broken free a little bit of, maybe you're going to college, maybe you're not living at your family home anymore, maybe you've gained a little bit of independence, and even if you are still like living at home, you've probably encountered a lot of other people, you've diversified your experiences, which is, I think, is a very natural, common thing that happens at that age range. And I think a lot of people get confronted by this idea of, are we still friends just because we've been friends? Is it just the history that's binding us together? And then just as equally, but more intense, the question of, are we together because it's comfortable and because it's familiar? Or are we together because it's what we truly want and our ideas line up and we are growing up together, we're growing in the same direction? And I think that those are things that you really struggle with during that time, especially when you've been friends with people or you've known people for a really long time, because then I feel like history weighs into that equation as well. And you can find yourself knowing or being friends with somebody that you wouldn't necessarily be friends with if you met in the current time. And then also just alcohol or being under the influence in any way, shape, or form, and big emotional decisions never go hand in hand. I do think that it can bring up issues, but I don't think that those issues should ever be discussed until sobriety has been reached by both people, and also usually a good night's sleep before kind of really taking on the serious conversation. But I do think that the alcohol can bring about the issue, just not the resolution time. I think that should be later.
Sun poisoning. I think this was a very interesting short film. I think it does a great job exploring the two points of view of, two people in a relationship. I like the way um, the characters confront each other with the way of thinking, the things they say. There are some points in which he says things that he doesn't realize are affecting his girlfriend. And I think this is very honest because quite often in life we go through this kind of situation in which when in which a person says something and or does something and maybe it doesn't mean anything but the other person sees a different way. So if every person sees reality through their own lenses, this is even more present with the relationships. And so this is why dialogue is so important, and I think that what the film achieves so beautiful is how to is the importance of having these conversations and trying for this mutual understanding of what people are doing and what people are feeling. I think it was a very well done film, and the screenplay was very good too. So thanks for saying it.